Right, we're live, mate. Welcome, Harry Squatter today. I ain't got names on. We need to get names on, don't we? So that we can everyone can see. They're always like there's always some ingenious name and there's a reason behind it. So why are we Harry Squatter today, mate?
I don't know. I'm just enjoying doing some squats at the minute, I guess. Quite enjoying my squats.
Well, fair play. And we discussed off camera, the hair's looking nice and crazy as well. It's like
a little unkempt, yeah. Because often as well, the facial hair, right? I grow a beard in about 3 days, and then when I shave it, they're like, "Oh, you've got a mustache." I'm like, "No, I literally always have a mustache. It just depends if I can be bothered to shave or not, you know."
It's just there.
Yeah, I think it comes from when I was at school. There was really tight like uniform standards, and I had a beard when I was like in sixth form as well. And the like, I don't know, would be my tutor, the guy who looked after me, he was like on it. And then when I left school, I was just like, yeah, fuck this, like, because we were suited and booted every day. Also, I worked in like the financial sector for a bit as well, where you've got to probably try quite hard to look quite relatively smart each day. So I think as soon as things got a bit more relaxed, it was just like, see ya.
I thought you were young enough to have missed out on when, like, you know, things like beards and shaved heads and tattoos weren't acceptable. I thought you were young enough to have missed that. I thought that was more my era where it was classed as fuggish or unkempt, or I feel like David Beckham came in and made all that stuff fashionable and made it okay.
People a little bit older than me all seem to have tattoos. So like I'm like about to turn 30 this year. Everyone in their 30s that I know, that if there's not a reason for it, they just have everyone just has tattoos, even just like a little one or whatever. But that's not my thing. But no, my era is the homeless chic, right? It's kind of cool to look kind of homeless.
Well, there you go. He said you look like a Turk, Jake from the base show. So to be fair, mate, I didn't have a tattoo until I was 40, and now I'm like
inked up.
Maybe 10 years you'll you got a few good stories to tell, mate.
I don't think I could take it. Do you know who's got a tattoo that you really wouldn't expect? Is Mike Allen.
Has he? What's he got? Like an abacus or something?
Yeah, he's like the most vanilla bloke you've ever met, but he's got sweet tattoos.
What's he got? I'm interested in that.
I'm not going to disclose it. You'd have to ask him. It's not like
the compromising positions
or anything like that. It's like all pretty PC, but you have to ask him if you see him.
I'll have to have him back on. Got quite a few views with him, but then again, I put I think in the title of that one, I mentioned like Lightfoot,
the coach of the fittest man in Europe. Yeah,
yeah. So like, it's for the clicks, isn't it, mate? So right. So since we last caught up, because you frequent this podcast quite a bit's changed really. So one thing I want to do a bit of housekeeping on is the Defiant Show is live right now on the Defiant Show channel, but also the Continuum channel. So Continuum, you'll probably not know, is a new channel that's dedicated to UK CrossFit. So we're going to be covering all things CrossFit news. There's Jake from the base shows like heading it all up. His podcast from the base show and Outside the Box are going to be moving on to it. I'm doing a show on it every Wednesday. There's a few other people that have got slots, like Gareth and Andy from CrossFit UK are going to be recording some stuff and putting it on. So we're kind of trying to do like, there doesn't seem to be a central source that's dedicated to UK. And I think at the moment, if you look at open sign-ups, you look at you guys getting back to the games, Harry, Amy, things seem to be like really going well in the UK on the CrossFit front. And I think having a centralized place to tell stories, whether it's the sport, whether it's behind the sport, that kind of stuff. We're going to be telling stories. We've got coaches coming on regularly, coaches, Congress representatives. It's going to be like really UK centric, and there'll be almost a show every single day. So anyone that's tuning in for the Defiant Show, make sure you go and subscribe to Continuum. So yeah, maybe you'll be able to frequent that a bit with the AOD boys as well, mate. Get some updates on.
Really good, like a collaborative approach to that, right? Is a pretty good idea, because then people can just kind of keep up without having to find all the different sources at once. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. And Jake's like the sort of brains behind it, and it's cool. We're doing some designs for all the overlays and all that kind of stuff. We're going to make it all sexy, so it's exciting, mate. So this is literally live on both channels, because you can collab channels as well on YouTube now. So I set it up and then collab. That's pretty cool. So yeah, there we go. So for you, mate, we're going to talk about World Fitness Project, a bit of programming talk, a bit of open talk, and then I'm going to do my usual, what can I get out of you as to what's happening with the team this year. See if I can squeeze any hot takes out, mate. So I'm going to go first about WFP. Now, the reason I want to start with that is obviously you guys went and competed in Copenhagen, and you've got there seems to be a lot of comparisons about WFP and the games and CrossFit and all that. And because you've been at the premier event of both WFP finals and CrossFit Games, I kind of wanted to get your take as an athlete on the differences, because I feel like WFP, it's all geared up to the people with the contracts and all that. So whenever they're on podcasts talking about it, they're paid for, so they're never going to say what they really think. But obviously, you can pretty much speak as freely as you like. So I'd just like to get a real comparison. So overall, though, just talk us through the qualification process and how you guys did in the team and all that, for those that don't know.
Yeah, so for the teams, we didn't really know what was going to happen. So what the experience was going to be like, whatever. And I think it was very much just like an off-season competition, as in OJ kind of finished the season. He'd just done with us, and he needed time off for his body, and he basically pushed a lot of his training into High Rocks. We, as in the remaining three of us, had WFP kind of in our sights a little bit. We're like, off-season competition, we'll keep it pretty casual, all of that kind of stuff. So we needed another team member for that. So Adzi, who's been coaching Joe Hurley for, I don't know, maybe 6 months prior to that or something like that. We were kind of playing around with different potential people who we might talk to, whatever. Anyway, we stuck on Joe. And I think it was mainly because we thought that with his capabilities, he could complement the team quite well. And because with creating a team, it's not always about plugging holes. It's like you need everyone to have a really good level of competence across the board, so no one lets you down necessarily in a single workout. But because team categories are always small, you need those people that are going to complement each other. So then when you take big finishes, it really kind of benefits you. If everything's really middle of the road because you're super balanced, normally I find that it's actually not the best. So that was kind of our decision making going into that, doing the competition with Joe. There's no kind of conversations about next season with the CrossFit Games and things like that. We were like, we'll just hit this in the off season, see how it goes. We can all catch up in the new year, kind of after Christmas, see what lay of land is. So that was the thing. Qualifying, we signed up for the qualifiers, the World Fitness Trials. It was 2 workouts a week for 3 weeks, which is a fucking joke, to be honest. And because it's just much.
We're going to say why. Why is that?
It's so much exercise, to qualify for a competition that isn't the CrossFit Games. It's not established from a team standpoint. Anyway, we're doing it. We're firm it. We'll just take it on. After the first submission window, we're looking at the leaderboard. We're like, oh, fuck, right. We've been a little bit too cash on this because there's the cut line. There's only 4 spots. So we assumed it'd be 20. So we're first week, we've just rocked up to the gym, a few banded pull aparts, an air squat, turn the camera on, start the clock kind of thing. So we started off on the back foot, obviously moved through them all, qualified fine. But there was only 4 spots. And we were like, well, who's going to occupy the entire competition? And then there was no formal things really being spoken about it. So from the communications, it wasn't great. And we're just finding out about people getting invites, Krieger in Norway got offered 10 team spots. Maybe it wasn't that many. It was 5 or 10. They're like, you can just have those invites. There you go. And they're basically just chucking invites all over the place. They started putting tying qualifying spots to podiums at certain European competitions, but they were like announcing it the week of that competition. So if you were going to Amsterdam Throwdown, you could get a WFP final spot, but you didn't even know that when you signed up. It's just there. So like the qualification process was a bit meh, but I think it's because in the earlier events, the team category was all direct entry. And I think one competition, they had really bad take up and they didn't even hold the teams on the elite floor. They did another competition, so the second tour stop, I think the take up was a little better. They put them on the pro floor. They had a bit of coverage. There were some better teams there. And then for the finals, because it was in Europe, and I think this is the only reason the teams work really well, is because CrossFit for teams in Europe is like the thing. Like Europe has the deepest field in terms of teams. It's why it's so hard to qualify. It's probably why we struggled to qualify out of Europe for all those years. And as soon as they made it global, it's like, yeah, like easy day.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it makes it a bit simpler from that standpoint. Anyway, so there's loads of invites, whatever. We didn't really know what to expect. And like I said, we probably trained as a unit twice, maybe. Like we didn't prepare for it the way we normally prepare for things. And I'm normally quite like particular about how I want to do things. And I basically just sold it to everyone that I was like, look, I'm not even gonna, I'll be chilled out, you know, like I'll try that thing. We went in zero expectation. And then we finished fourth in the end, which was great. And we had some stuff that didn't go very well. We had some stuff that showed good potential if we were going to go forward and do more. So that was great. And I think from an organization standpoint, like doing it as a competition, the CrossFit Games is still absolutely the highest standard that a team can compete at. But because people there were asking me, they were like, you went to the games this year, like you've been trying to do it, blah, blah, blah. Like, how does it stack up? And I was like, this is probably just like a really stacked European regional. So, or like semifinals. So what I could compare it to was like semifinals in Lyon, where there was loads of really good teams. There was only 8 spots to qualify for the games. It was super competitive. But then like warm up area, set up, like the crowd and the atmosphere, it was all very reminiscent of that. Now, I actually would say that it was a better experience than Lyon because we had 4 days of competition, which is a little excessive, but it's all right. Whereas when we were in Lyon, we did 5 workouts across 2 days. And then, which is really the reason we didn't qualify that year, because it just, if you have one bad workout, you're done. You're out. Like it's not going to be, the programming becomes a much bigger factor. Whereas at WFP, because we did so many events, I think we did 7, like you have time to have a bad workout and then you can average out. And the people that are more well-rounded do just kind of like rise to the top. So, because even the teams on the podium, like all of them had a bad finish here or there. Whereas I know that when we used to do those semi-finals that were way less events, it was like one mistake and it's over, really. So, yeah, the event itself was awesome. I would definitely do it again. And then when we were watching the individual stuff, like insane. But it's not the CrossFit Games is really the thing.
You know, when you talk about just then, you were talking about a balanced team isn't always. You said it a little bit earlier. Isn't always as strong as what you might think. Does that actually then, because of what you just said about a balanced team does better over a longer period of workouts, does it depend on the type of competition as to whether you want some home runs and big hitters or you want a fully balanced team? Because by default, obviously the CrossFit Games is the longest and most difficult test. So do the balanced teams do better at the CrossFit Games? Whereas, you know, at Lyon, for example, where you can just take some big swings at stuff, is it better to have a few big hitters? How do you balance that? How do you determine? Because I always assumed it was best as long as your girls were really strong and your guys were average and the team was relatively balanced, then you pretty much do okay.
Yeah, like I think if you want to make waves and do some like it depends on kind of like the level or the threshold that you're kind of competing at. So it's like, if you're within the threshold that you're like a bubble team, having the home runs means that you're gonna like have the potential to make a big difference in terms of your outcomes. And then say you're at the CrossFit Games, you're a top 10 team, having people or like having the ability to hit home runs is going to get you close to the podium. Whereas if you're if things are super balanced, I think it's just like, it's very much the same with individuals as well, though. Like, it's all, like I said, it all depends on the threshold and the level of competition that you're competing at. But, and you hear athletes talk about this a lot of the time as well. It's like, you qualify for a competition, you've got a competition in your sights, you're like, right, it's time to work my weaknesses. Like, that's the thing. I'm not going to push my strengths as much. And they work their weaknesses. They become a bit less shit, but they're still not obviously going to win those workouts unless it's Matt Fraser doing some weird shit that whatever he did to do those things.
Crazy.
Yeah. So they're a bit better at the things that they're already not going to do well at, like the damage limitation workouts. But then they haven't actually potentiated or got better like at the things that really kind of carry them. So then they'll go to the competition and they're like, oh, wow, I came 15th in every single workout. Whereas like, do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
I think for athletes, for teams to do well, I do think you have to really push your strengths and keep your strengths strong. Now, where your strengths lie, it obviously looks totally different for everyone, because say the only strength a person has is like 1 rep max lifting. It's like, that's probably the worst thing to keep strong, because it doesn't have any carryover into other areas. But say you're like a mid-ish runner and your lifting's not great. Sorry, you're a mid-ish runner, but then you're like really good at short sprint workouts. You don't push any of the faster short stuff. You don't win that anymore, and your running placement goes up a little bit. So it's part of it's the job of the coach, though, really, to assess like what training is going to enhance this athlete's performance the most, rather than it just being like, that's what you're bad at, that's what we do all the time, every cycle, competition prep, whatever, So I think strengths are a very big thing. You have, if you want to do well in this sport, you have to have them. And if you don't, you're just going to like tick along kind of like that.
Yeah. So, when you're programming there, because we're going to talk a little bit about programming anyway, but I'm just going to just keep it on the teams for a second. Like, you all have your individual programs that for you to like get better. But when you're looking at a team, like when Ads looks at you as a team, does he have to almost program team stuff in a way? Because if you've got different strengths and weaknesses in a team, that can be an actual fundamental overall strength, but it can be an overall weakness. So how do you sort of navigate that? Is it just individual, make the individual better and it'll make the team better, or do you have to think about it on a
I think in recent years we've actually found that we're more bottlenecked because we do the team training. We're very diligent with it, and people are kind of acquiring more experience. We actually find that we're more held back by individual ability as opposed to like real team elements. So like if we were to not do well in a certain workout, it might be because X person just like held us back, or like as a group, it's like the individual parts weren't good enough. So, but that depends on the team, because say you put a group of individual games athletes together and they never trained together, but you just threw them in the team field, they might then start to really struggle with some more of the team elements. And that's not just like synchro movements. It's also like pacing and managing each other and making sure that you're doing the right things to put people in the right place to do well. And also people calling the shots, communicating, like all those kind of things. And I think because we've been working in a team for so long, even though there are different team members coming in and out at times, the core development of that kind of stays the same. So individual stuff super important. I think generally my perspective, because I write my own program and I coach Helen, Ads coaches Kerry and Joe. if we're talking about committing to doing team stuff, it's kind of like, right, what does the team need? Okay, so this person is significantly worse than everyone else at this thing. So we need to get them to catch up with that. So that's their individual training. Like, that's not going to be reflected in anyone else's training because they're already good enough. Everyone else doesn't need to push those things as hard because it's going to be limited by that one individual anyway, right? So,
right, okay.
For example, like OJ's running was so good. I think he loved running so much that he probably did do a fair bit. But it's, or like Kerry, for example, her running's like so good that it's like you don't need to be pushing your running. If you were competing as an individual, we probably would really push that so you can win all of those workouts that are like more running endurance based. But within the team, we don't need you to go any further because she's faster than me. She's faster than Helen. It's like, so we need Helen and Harry to be running 3 times a week. Kerry, you can run once a week, maybe twice when we're 6 to 8 weeks out kind of thing, because it'd be a waste of time. And then like vice versa. So everyone's program is looking to complement the team as best as possible. And also discussions me and Ads will have is like, right, what workouts could hurt us the most? And then also what workouts do we have potential to win with the kind of complementary strengths of each of the individuals? And then we'll also push that stuff as well. And there's obviously, you're always trying to cover all your bases, but I'd say the 2 major priorities are like, are you going to hold the team back in this element? You're training that pretty hard. Can the team win these workouts if everyone's got their ducks in a row? We're going to push that pretty hard. And then everything else in between is just kind of filled in on like a needs basis kind of.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, for you programming for yourself, how does that look? So is it, I don't know, I hear a lot about like people that don't have coaches and stuff like that, but that's different because you are a coach. So therefore you're both, but like, do you get Ads to look over what you've programmed for yourself? Because I guess we all have a natural, I don't know, tendency to maybe not do the stuff we don't like. And the point of being coach is to make sure you're doing the stuff you don't like. You probably don't like it because you're not as good at it. How do you, and then also, but then how do you balance that by not just filling yourself in with the stuff that you're not so good at to the point that you hate the whole process? It's like, is that not difficult to do for yourself?
Yeah. So Ads coached me for 5 or 6 years and I didn't want anything to do with it. Because I was like, my job is writing people's training and coaching them. Like, I want to just kind of go to the gym, see what's written down, execute it as best I can. Because I think that people coaching themselves is a terrible idea. Like, I think, full stop. I think it's ridiculous, right? Anyway, he did that for all that time. And I think I don't know what it was. Like, it was a me thing. Like, it was like an emotional, like, stress thing. And I think because we went all those years without qualifying, the anxiety, the desire, like, was just building up in me so much that then I'm doubting the training because it's like, I'm not getting the results. I'm just like spiraling kind of thing. And I remember one day, because I'm not a super emotional guy, like everything's pretty much down the line. And I was having lots of issues with my body. And I sat in a coffee shop next to the gym with Adzi. And I didn't even know really what I wanted to talk to him about, but I was like, I need to chat to you. And I ended up just sitting there and just fucking crying for like 30 minutes, like just having no idea what I was going to do. So I wouldn't really put it on him or say it was really an issue with him. And I think the kind of, he then continued to coach me. I did a competition. It went fine. And then I just thought, I think I can lower my stress if I take control over my outcomes more. So then I'm not having doubts over if I fail or I miss the mark. I'm not like looking to blame someone else. It's my responsibility. So that was kind of how I got there. Now, the reason I think I can do it is because I've been coaching people for obviously so long now. I've like been doing it for a fair amount of time, was that I felt that my level of experience, things were just flowing for me quite well. And it was quite easy for me to write training, plan training, like all these kind of things. And since I've been coaching myself, I've not really struggled at all. And I said to Ads, I was like, if I think I'm struggling with anything, I will probably just come back to you because I think if in those prior to that, if I ever tried to coach myself, I think I would have, just buried myself and injured myself and it been totally unmanageable. But it's working out fine. It's working pretty well. Like I'm pretty happy with how things are doing. I think also just like mentally, emotionally, I'm in a much better condition than maybe I was. So it's more relaxed for me. Helen now leading into the games, I basically said to her, I was like, I think we should do some more training together and work as training partners. It's not something that a lot of people do just because the context doesn't really fit, but we worked as training partners. Our programs wouldn't be completely the same. And then after the games, we've just kept training together. Whereas this whole time that we've been in a relationship together, we've done the team together, all our training was separate apart from team stuff. Whereas now we pretty much hit every session together and it works well. And I think things are easy and open enough for us to just be like, if we need to change it, we'll change it. I think people in those scenarios, like Helen pays to be coached by me. Like there's a formal exchange, like she's top of the priority in terms of that standpoint. But I think all of the things that I do are red flags, like coaching yourself, training with your partner, coaching your partner, like all of that stuff. I'm like, that's an absolute no-go, but I think it works for us because we've worked towards it rather than just doing it out of kind of ease, convenience,
Yeah.
Which is normally how those scenarios arise, and then things break down and it all goes to shit and it's like, what are you going to do? So yeah, coaching myself's good. And like in terms of the major struggles I used to have would be injuries, like overuse injuries in my body and things like that. And it's a lot easier for me to manage those things now. And if something doesn't feel good, I'll just change it or I'll skip it and I'll then go back and reassess and see what's right,
Yeah. So, when you were talking about that day when you went and sat with ads and you got like emotional about it all, like, was that because, and then you learn, taking from that you wanted to take responsibility of your own sort of action and then your own excuses, I guess. Did you sort of learn from that you, I don't know, like if there's someone else to blame, were you at a time in your life then where you would have blamed everything but you? Is that what sort of made you want to take control?
Not entirely. Like the whole, I had this revelation, right? This is years ago, but because I like managed the team and this leadership role, I was listening to an ebook, and I actually don't like the guy, but it was cool. What was it called? Jocko Willink, right? You know that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't like him. Anyway, I'm listening to his book because also I've heard loads of podcasts of people just being like, yeah, he's full of shit. But basically it was like, you have to take responsibility for your outcomes, and like everything that happens is within your control, and you have you have the ability to change things and change your life and do all this stuff, right? That was kind of like the major thing. And off the back of that, I then went to the team and I was like, we're establishing a very clear chain of demands, chain of command here. I proposed it to them. I didn't tell them. I was like, I am going to be the top of the pyramid. I'm going to make all of the decisions. Like, we'll discuss things, but the final decision comes to me. And if things don't go well, I will take responsibility for what went wrong. And if my performance isn't good within that role, we'll need to reassess it, right? So that was kind of the first step. And there was a little bit of resistance because I can't even remember what I called it. I maybe just called myself like, I'll be the manager of the team, I'll
the
be
leader.
The manager. And Lois fucking hated it. She hated it because she was just like, this guy's just imposing his will upon us. Like it's not a collaboration anymore. And I was like, no, it's not that. It's that someone has to take responsibility, because if something goes bad, I don't want people to be like, this person, because it's this person, because they did this and this, that, and the other. And it's like, I want to be like, that person might have failed us, but I have failed them because I've not foreseen that outcome, or I've not facilitated them being able to do the right things or put them in the right position, or the strategy was whatever, So it started with a team like that. And I think it probably worked along to myself. And whenever I get stressed or I talk to people about stressful scenarios or whatever, like I'm not a very empathetic person. And this has kind of made it worse. This mindset shift is like, what are we going to do about it then? Like, what are we going to do to gain control of this scenario to then improve our circumstances? Because there is a lot of things in life that are out of our control, but there's a hell of a lot more that are, and your general outlook and how you experience life is going to come down to that.
Yeah. And like you say, even the things that are outside of your control, how you act when those things happen is within your control, isn't it? So
yeah,
it's being able to understand that what you can control, you do, and then what you can't. I don't know, your reaction to it's just as important. And I guess in that scenario, you creating that for the team, I can understand resistance in it because people won't necessarily understand that, but it's good to know that it's on me. We know where to centralize it. We know who to go to. And then in those moments when things do go to shit,
very open with the sense that I'm like, if we're not getting the results we want and we can clearly trace that back to my decision making, let's do something else. And then you can take this into your control, tell me what the alternative is, and we'll figure it out from there. It's not like I'm taking control because this is my thing and like it's all consuming, And I think team members that we've had over the years have always been really, really good with that. Because I think, like I said, I'm not very empathetic. I'm very blunt and I'm straight down the middle, but I'm very open to doing things the best way, whatever gets the best result, that's it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, isn't it? I think when you're competing at the elite level that you guys are, there's no room for empathy really, because it's not going to get you anywhere. And I don't mean that in a sort of, a completely negative way, but you do need to be ruthless, don't you? You need to be like really sort of singularly focused and driven in a way that some people can't relate to.
Yeah. So many teams break down because there isn't a structure to how they're communicating or making decisions. So, and we learned this from our first year, right? Like, I'm not going to name names, but people who know. We had a team member, and the dynamic was all off. There wasn't a clear chain of command. How we're communicating and making decisions wasn't working, and you pretty much leave that situation. You just be like, we're never going to work with someone again who's not open to the structure, because it's literally a nightmare. So, which is the same as, like I was talking about, people training with their partners or coaching themselves or whatever. Like, as soon as there becomes emotional biases rather than it just being like results and performance driven, all sorts of shit starts happening, doesn't it? Like,
yeah. So how do you navigate that with Helen then? Obviously, like you're in a relationship and you're training. So when you're filling her in with legless rope climbs and whatever other shit, how does that go when you get home? Is it like right, we don't talk about today's workouts, or do you review it? Do you try and separate it out a little bit?
To be fair, yeah. I mean, she's tough. Like, I think when she used to teach and I was coaching her, we'd sometimes do like a 1-to-1 session to work on something, and it would almost always end in her crying, right? And since she stopped teaching and her life's a bit more relaxed, she's just like a busy person anyway, so she's always going to be like that. But she kind of mellowed out a bit, so then not everything's an attack, But like I said, because I'm very blunt, I'm not going to fluff around the subject. I'm just going to go, this is why this isn't working. This is what we're going to do. And she's very good now at kind of taking that on board. And I think the whole thing of like me coaching my girlfriend, like the reason it works is because of her, because she's patient and she trusts exactly what I'm doing. She doesn't second guess it. Like, we've obviously fallen out about stuff, but also she knows that anything I'm asking her to do, if she goes, why the fuck am I doing this? I can explain it. I've got very like strong justifications for everything she does. But then that's because I care and I'm diligent. Like, I'm not just kind of chucking shit in there. And that's also why she pays to be coached, because it's a service. And if I had anyone on my books that was getting coached for free, like, as professional as I want to be, if you coach someone for free, they're just the bottom of your priority list behind every single thing in your life, you know?
Mate, and you generally tend to find that people that are willing to take a service for free cause you more fucking pain than people that pay, because somehow they become more entitled in a way as well, don't they? It's a bizarre sort of...
It's really odd, and it's a thing that we've never ever done. So, because we've spoken to like athletes that would be interested to have involved in this, that, and the other, and they're kind of thinking that they're going to get some kind of benefit or something from it. It's like, no, you just pay the same as everyone else, but we're just telling you that we're going to do a really good job for you. Like that's the thing.
An old saying, isn't it? If you're good at something, you don't do it for free. It's as simple as that, isn't it? So, you know, when you do programming and stuff then, so, you know, like there's such an element of trust to it, isn't there, when you take someone on as a coach? Like when you see all these people that like coach help from, you know, almost yearly, they can never develop that trust and then relationship. So similar to what you talked about with Helen there, like over the time, obviously her life and situation has changed, which will help with being more relaxed, but she'll obviously have trusted you more. She'll have seen the improvements and all that. So when you take sort of clients on, are you having a conversation up front of like, look, I want this to be a long-term relationship. I don't just take anyone on, and this is why, because you can't really impact anyone's abilities you can make small tweaks to big holes in a year, but realistically, you need a good period of time with someone to take them where they want to go, don't you?
That's the general sentiment when we're whenever we're having those initial conversations with people, is that like, we used to track it more closely, like I'm sure it's somewhere, but like our typical length of engagement with a client is probably 2, maybe 3 years, you know? And that's not because that's the length that everyone's on for. Some people might only be on for 18 months, but then there's other people that have been with us for 6 years, you know? So it obviously averages out, but that's what we're looking for. And it is a very general kind of, that is the theme of the thing, because it takes time. And as soon as someone might suggest that this is a temporary thing because they're looking for a little bump here and there, it's just kind of like, I'm not really sure this is the thing for you, because it does take years. And then also because we're a team with a huge facility to help people, that it's like, if you're not getting on with this coach for whatever reason, you don't like their style, you guys don't click that well, it's like, we've got more coaches, because we understand that everyone needs to find that perfect blend and the fit that they can fall into, which I think is something really good that AOD kind of offers. But it's something that's happened organically, you know?
Yeah. So in terms of the AOD sort of coaching team, then when you look to recruit to add to that, do you do it as a sort of, do you try and hire specialists, for example, or do you want a well-rounded coach that can just like sort of take someone on a complete journey, as opposed to, right, you need to see such and such for gymnastics, such and such for Olympic lifting, or do you do it like more general? Do you want well-rounded coaches?
I think so. Talking about the specialists, like, I think that CrossFitters are, even the best in the world, they're so bad at everything. Right, that's like a really pessimistic way to put it, but they're so bad at everything relative to like how good people are at those things, that the specialist coaching, like, I think that a CrossFit coach should be able to do it all, and like, and it's the coach's job to basically like, so a coach working with a specialist in order to develop their knowledge and upskill them is something that I think is really important. Athletes working with specialists, you need a new coach, because if you're of that level that you need a specialist, like, your coach ain't doing it for you, you know? So so like the outsourcing and the specialists, like, they are so important, but also half the time I just think it's coaches, they're just being fucking lazy, and they're not developing themselves enough to meet the demands of whoever it is they're working with. So like, if you've got like a games athlete, and the coach is like, "Oh, I found so and so. They can do all your weightlifting stuff, and they've got this other person. They're going to do all your physiological testing and write your endurance work, and then I'll just kind of fill in the gaps." It's like, well, what the fuck are you doing then? Like, you know, and that actually, you've kind of triggered me now. You've really kind of got my grinding my gears. It's like I say, that coach, your coach in that moment can't handle you. You need to get a new one. Then that coach needs to evaluate and be like, I need to fill these gaps in my knowledge. And I think that's not me being like, I know everything, but I know that I'm kind of trying to take myself down the path that myself and the coaches that work with us and the whole team are very well equipped to facilitate whatever the circumstances are. And if someone wants to do an Ironman, I'll probably be like, you should probably get an Ironman triathlon coach. Like, don't talk to me about wanting to do a bit of CrossFit and a bit of Ironman. It's like, it's, you know, we're purists.
Yeah. So how do coaches then? So what you said there about like coaches should go to specialists and enhance their knowledge so that they're more well-rounded and then they can provide the best service to their clients. How do you know like what's next? It's like, because coaching evolves just like everything evolves, you know, like the weights that were lifted at the ranch in 2007, like not even the girls RX today. So as stuff advances and evolves, how do coaches find that information or find something new? Because you're the guys that the athletes go to, but where do you get it from? Like, how is it constantly absorbing information and new science and technologies and things like that, and then putting it together, putting your stamp on it and delivering it? Or is there a more sort of structured approach to it? How do you stay ahead?
I think it's easy. Like, for me, it's easy in the sense that I am just so desperate to learn as much as possible to improve athletes that I won't. I'll just get stuck in rabbit holes. Like, it'll go through yearly cycles. Like, there'll be something that I'll get totally obsessed with for a year from a training standpoint, and I'll try and learn everything I possibly can about it. And then once I feel like I've got it to a good level that it's applicable to working with clients and it's appropriate for different levels of CrossFit athletes, I'll probably then go into the next thing. And I think with me coaching myself as well, this is almost like exponentially increased, because I'm kind of at a point where it's like, right, so I want to improve this thing, and like I'm going down that rabbit hole now, and then I'm like testing things on myself and finding out more. And then if I'm thinking stuff's working really well, I'm like, right, let's get this down. Let's get some coaches to use this with their athletes. And because ultimately, like, CrossFit is an evolving sport, and there's never going to be, like in all sports, the practice of coaching and training is going to be dynamic, but it's such an open field in the sense that if anyone was to claim they had the one method that's going to be the thing that improves people the most, they're just lying outright, because the CrossFit landscape is changing so much. Like, people, not even that long ago, people would just smash 3 Metcons a day, and then they might just do some heavy squats or something, and it's like, whatever. And then they're wondering why everyone's so bad at running, right? And now people are separating their training more, and it's like more specific. It's almost to the point now where I think a lot of CrossFit athletes are probably like losing touch of CrossFit because all of their training's so separated as well, which full risk of. And it's kind of like, I think it's easy for me because I'm so passionate about coaching and learning more about it. If that's a drag, then you probably need to get a different job.
Yeah, that makes sense. But you know, like when you're saying that, like you just test and test and test and test. Obviously, the results of coaching don't manifest, you know, quickly. So are there any times when you've gone, oh, this is really cool, implemented it for like months that you need to in order to test it, and then be like, oh, fuck, that load of shit. Now I wasted that time.
It depends on the reading, because like the reading that I'm doing, and how much time I'm willing to give it, and how much I believe in the thing. So I'm not just like seeing something random and chucking it at the wall. So like, for example, when I was going down my energy systems endurance training rabbit hole, I sought out a specialist. I worked with a specialist on this, I got physiological testing done. I bought the equipment. I started testing loads of athletes, but like before doing stuff with other people, I was also learning about myself with the testing and all this. Like the lactate monitor is quite expensive in itself, but the strips are like £2 a hit, right? So every reading you get is going to cost you £2. I was like slamming like fucking 10 in a session, you know, like on a weekly basis. Like I was just like, yeah, keep them coming, because I'm trying to learn about it. And now when I do a lot of my endurance stuff, I do test still, not nearly as much as I did because I was so obsessed then, but kind of lost track of the point here a little bit. Is basically, yeah, I knew that with the lactate and the energy systems training stuff, it was going to take a long time to see really meaningful shifts in my physiology. But then I compare that to something else, like the thing that I'm really into at the minute is strength training for athletes, but not just in terms of like making them lift more weight. It's like in terms of enhancing the entire kind of CrossFit performance via strength training modalities. I know that you can see changes in that probably a lot quicker, and like certain movement variations and things like that. So it kind of does come down to what is the thing I'm working on, you know, and giving it just time. And also you do need to kind of trust what you're doing. You need to think it's the best thing.
Yeah.
If you're second guessing and you're implementing, you're like, oh, kind of waiting for the results to turn up now. Like, where are they? Like, it's never going to happen, is it? Like, the biggest thing with progress in training anyway is self-efficacy and believing in the thing you're doing. So,
yeah. But that's like anything, isn't it? That's absolutely anything. Like, if you believe in it, you'll put your all into it, and then good stuff can happen, can't it?
A shit program done well is going to do a lot better than the best program in the world. Like, done half-heartedly, you know?
Yeah. No, that's cool, mate. And that lactate stuff, is that what you're doing with Lightfoot when I came down and I was on the bike next to him? Is that what does that do then?
So he gets like he's like trickle down economics of like the biophysical lab that I am, you know, like it's like all the training shit. Like I'll normally do the stuff, and then when I can back it up, I'm like, right, guys, the big athletes, let's get the big dogs in. Like let's get the people that we don't want to take risks with. Let's start pushing it with them. But basically, the testing your lactate levels. So lactate is basically a byproduct of glycolysis. So if you've got your energy systems, you're utilizing different fuel substrates. So whether it be fat, like carbs, glycogen, or like creatine, like ATP, PCR kind of stuff, right? That's like the majority, like that's like the major overview. When you pass certain intensity thresholds, the kind of contribution of energy, so where you're pulling your energy from, whether it's fat or like glycogen, will obviously change. And because lactate is a byproduct of glycolysis, so using glycogen, it basically gives you like intensity benchmarks, because we talk about zone 2 training, and zone 2 training is meant to be like majority of it is like lipolysis. We will be using carbohydrates, but we're trying to like oxidize fat and use our aerobic system in isolation. So your lactate levels will be very low. And then as you creep out of like zone 2, like low intensity, your lactate levels will rise a little bit. And that's where you know that threshold is. So when I take an athlete's lactate, I'm trying to find firstly that first inflection point. So where does it go from low to moderate intensity? Because unless you're super experienced, you're not going to feel that difference as a person, especially if you're a CrossFit athlete, because you do so much stuff that like you're not going to know like if it's low, high, like moderate intensity, you know, you're not going to know the difference. But then it will then keep rising, and then you'll get to your second lactate threshold, which people refer to as lactate threshold. And then it will kind of have like another inflection point. And that's when you go from the second threshold, where you could effectively sit there for as long as you like, as long as you're fueling with carbohydrates and you're kind of like trained there. But once you pass that second inflection point, you're then like up Everest in the death zone, where there is only a limited amount of time you're going to be able to sustain that effort. And you record these two thresholds just to structure training around it. Because like I said, because I think we spoke about zone 2 power and things like that, like together loads. And without the physiological data, it takes a lot of time to get it right and to know. Because a lot of people would probably start doing their like zone 2 work or their lactate threshold work. They'd probably be too hard because their ego's in the way, or they're calculating their zones off of a test that's also a calculation that's for endurance athletes, not CrossFit athletes. And then it might then turn into effective training, but it took so long for you to train to get to that point that you would have actually just got better if it was all just way easier. So that's a good, so it's almost like, how can we make this person's training easier and they get the most bang for their buck? So then they're getting less mileage on the clock and they can do the hard stuff as hard as they need to, you know?
So what you're saying is me doing zone 2, basically looking at my Apple Watch, is probably not an exact science.
It's rubbish. It's really shit. But the only thing is with you is because you've done so much time there, that probably is your zone 2 now.
Yeah. And you know, when you do that with the athletes and you take those readings, are they able to look at the data, remember where they were during it? Does it help them in workouts where they might be on that cusp of the two inflection points that you talked about and hold back in time?
All of CrossFit is done above it anyway.
Right.
like we're doing all of it above it, you know. But if we're talking about training physiology, we obviously don't do all of our sessions above it. We're not going full ham on every session. So that is a bit of a thing. But I will say this from anecdotal experience, but also athletes that I work with, the ones that get their zones right, and they train there for a while, when they then shift into like the next intensity realm and they start using more carbohydrates or they become unsustainable, they're very well calibrated and they feel it a lot more. And then, like I said, like I don't measure my lactate nearly as much now because I know exactly how it feels. So like, say I'm doing like a lactate threshold, like running session, and I probably haven't tested my lactate on running for 18 months now. I'm like, this is the value I used to work off. I'm starting this new little training block. I'll start at that value. I'm like, I know that feels too easy for threshold. So I'm going to push it a little bit faster. Like, okay, that felt pretty good too. Next week, I'll go a little bit faster. And I'm like, nah, like I'm too tired now. I'm too sore. Like this isn't the sensations that I should be feeling for this intensity. So I'll back it off again. Like, and that's where like ego is at massive detriment of everyone's training. But if you fill the knowledge gaps, it's really easy to kind of manage that. And I guess we go back to like the piece of me coaching myself. My ego's not running wild anymore because I feel like I have a really good understanding of how to improve things for myself. So rather than just going in and feeling like I need to smash it every day, I don't need to, because I understand that not smashing it today is going to be better than me just going off the rails, you know?
Yeah, and much better in terms of injury management. You were talking about before, weren't you, saying that all the little niggles and stuff, seems much better now from what I see anyway.
Threshold session. This is what I want my threshold to be, so I'm just going to work at that, you know? Or like, this is what this person does for their zone 2 watts. So, well, I want to be as good as them, so I'll just do their watts. It's like, it doesn't work like that, you know?
No.
Like for zone 2 watts are like silly. Like when he does his long rides, there'll be like 210 watts, and he does so much training there. There's probably more above it as well. I'll do all of my low intensity stuff at 140 to 150 watts. It's like not super high, but like I know that me and him are both feeling the same thing, and because we're getting the right stimulus. Whereas I could hold his zone 2 watts for an hour, for 90 minutes. If I wanted to, it would literally end me. Like I could do it, but then that's like, you see what I mean? You miss the point totally. It's like, it's not a case of whether you can do it or not. It's about whether it's right or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I've covered most of what I wanted to cover, mate, in terms of the team bits and the programming. But is there anything you can give me about next year? Obviously, the Open's on the horizon. Are we doing that with an eye on on teams? Can we get a hot take on what's happening with the team, or is it still up in the air a little bit?
Yeah. So we're going again. One more year, I guess.
Come on.
One more year, I guess. That's where we're at now. Is every year is one more year. To be honest, after WFP, everyone was buzzing, and the only person that wasn't buzzing was probably me, because I was just like, oh fuck, like here we go again, like, because it's gone quite well, and but the fact there's also things we need to work on and get better at, almost pushes it more, because it's like we got to get into the work, so you're not going to be complacent about it. Like, I don't have any delusions that qualifying this year will be easy by any means. If anything, it'll be harder, because the format's a little bit different, a little bit more challenging, I think. But I was just kind of holding off on the conversations, because I was just like, fuck, like, I guess we're doing this again. It was kind of nice not having that there, but at the same time, like, and what I've said to loads of people when we talk about it, it's just like, what else are we going to do? Like, it's so sweet. Like, it's so good. And the same as most things, like, the things that are actually worth it are hard, and they're very stressful. So that's the thing, isn't it? Like, and the games this year was so good. And the conversation with OJ, because obviously we're gonna do the season with Joe. The conversation with OJ, because I was kind of like, that was in the back of my head as well, because I'm like, I'm going to have to talk about this. And I spoke to OJ about Joe, but basically OJ is kind of, I don't think he's loving High Rocks, like the High Rocks life, which rightly so. He wants to push to qualify as a master again. And the age group games is with the regular games. It's just a few days before, so it's not an option for him to do both. But also, I think he fully appreciates how hard it is to do the team training, to do the travel, to do all of that stuff. So he kind of just took himself out of the equation. Like, I was like, after WFP, we'll see how it goes with Joe. I'm gonna have to speak to them both, and then I'm gonna have to decide who I think is going to be best. And I think OJ probably was just like, in his head, there's going to be choices made. I don't think he felt threatened by any means, but he was probably just like, it's easier for me if I just do the Masters thing. Because he went to the Masters games this year, because I went out to Ohio and I was coaching him. Ads is his coach, but I went out with him and Ross to cover the coaching kind of stuff for the weekend. And you could tell he really enjoyed it. And the fact that it's with the main games and he can just pull that into one trip, I think that I get it. Like, I get why he's doing that. So we've got another big man.
Joe, the big man. So is he? How's Joe? Is he? I bet he's fucking buzzing in here. But he's so excited.
He is. Yeah. I mean, he's very easy to work with, and he's just like, because I called him up, I messaged him. I was like, mate, like, when you're free, I need to chat to you. Like, people always hate getting that text from me, but because they think it's going to be bad. But I basically explained the situation to him, and he was just like, yeah, like, I'm in. Like, that's it. Like, sign me up. I'll do whatever you need me to do. I'll do it. So he is. He's all in, and that's great. Like, he's going to be fully committed to the cause, and I don't have any doubt in that. I also think what's really great with Joe is he's just learning loads, and he's just improving a lot just from the exposure to different athletes, and he's very coachable in the sense that you're telling him to do something a certain way, and he's trying to do it. There's not much pushback with that. So in terms of a team member, he's ideal. It's just whether the team overall is going to be good enough, which is the question every year, really. Like, are you going to get the right workouts? Are you going to perform well enough? Like, all those kind of things,
I feel like I don't know much about much, but I feel like Joe has strengths that maybe OJ didn't, and very much vice versa. So it'll be interesting to see that trade-off is.
They're totally different athletes, and I think OJ complemented the team really well. I also think Joe complements the team really well, but just in completely different ways. But this is like what I was talking about with the training, is like those events that we're going to look to push and we're going to try to win look different now. Yeah. So the training and the preparation like looks different now. Whereas if we had certain workouts before when OJ's in the blend that we're like, we're never really going to be that great at this because of whatever. I don't know. Say it's just like shitloads of heavy thrusters. He hates them because his front rack's like not the tidiest. We're not going to push that super hard. You know, we're going to push something else. And we came second in the run row event at the games because we put all our eggs in that basket. Like the guys were running, me and Helen were running 3 times a week. It was like, when that endurance event comes up, we're going to be prepared for it. And it really paid off. And that really helped us out in terms of our final placing. So it'll be similar with Joe. It just won't be the 60-minute run row workout, I don't think, that we go for.
No. Awesome. Well, thanks for the hot take, mate. I don't know how hot it was, but I'm taking it. I've got Jake here backstage because he's jumping on to do a segment with me, mate. So you're free to stay with us if you want, or if you've got better things to do, like go and brush your hair, you can hop off, mate. So
what are you guys doing? What are you getting up to?
We're just going to talk about a new segment that we're going to be featuring on. In fact, I'll add him and you can have because you might be interested in this actually. Jakey boy, hello. Welcome.
All right, how you doing?
How are we doing?
Good, mate. You?
Your camera is much better quality than mine.
Is it? Doesn't feel like it.
Mine looks kind of blurry. I can see every pore on your face.
Do you two know each other?
No.
That's just lovely. I like how guys just blend straight into that shit.
I just like I've got ultimate respect for Harry's facial hair. I'm fucking nearly 41 and I can't grow a beard. And it's like I've recently come to the conclusion that it's never going to happen. You know, like
I've had this since I was 12.
Yeah. Do you ever like, you know, when you look at your knob and you're like, oh, wait, do you reckon it will grow a little bit more?
I just
never thought that, mate.
Never had that. So I've always wanted an extra little bit, and I've recently come to the idea that it's not my beard, and that is never going to be any bigger or better. So I just have to respect the beard game now.
Well, you come in hot, mate. Like, have you two met each other? No. Oh, have you ever looked at your dick and wished it were bigger?
Well, yeah. No, my kind of ideas around that are just like, by the time anyone's judging that, it's already too late, isn't it? Not?
Yeah, and I've got 3 kids, so it's like.
Well, it works fine then.
It works, yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to be. I guess it'd have to be really bad, wouldn't it, for it to be unveiled and then be left when you're that committed.
Did you see that thing on this morning with Kat Deely and Dermot O'Leary with that guy with the world's smallest?
How do they know that?
1 centimetre long.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
He's done well.
Yeah, and he went on global telly and told everyone. But that's bad, isn't it? What would you do? All right, what would you do if that was you? Would you turn it into like something else, or would
I'd cash in like that guy is.
Yeah. Make bucks.
What do you mean, like sort of?
I don't. You
mean like go full, turn it into a clit and just fully transition? Do you mean that?
Yeah, a bit of extra fun, because like it's got to be better than just having a 1 centimetre knob. Surely that can't be good. It's the ultimate fuck you, isn't it?
Are you glad I was going to say, are you glad you stayed on, Harry, after I said you want to stay on or not? He's like, what the fuck did I just come into? So, Jake is the guy I was on about, who's the brains behind the CrossFit UK channel that we're bringing in, continuing. So that's Jake. So and Harry was actually really excited about it. And now, having just heard that conversation, are you still as excited about the channel?
Well, I might go watch the playback of this morning now. So
yeah, it's a bit different to this show. So yeah, head to head. Speaking of it, you go.
Well, I'll let you do it, but like basically, well, we can explain it to Harry, can't we? Because he's here, so it's like we can explain it to him. So obviously, part of the stuff that we were talking about earlier about the new features that we're going to do with this channel and bringing everyone together. One of the segments we're going to do is going to be called Head to Head, where 2 people, whoever they may be, see if I'm doing this right, can decide that they want to go head to head in a workout, and we're going to use this platform to stream them going head to head. So, you know, if you decided like, right, Lightfoot, I can fucking do you on this, and you just wrote a workout and said, "Come and beat me at this," and then we'll stream it live. And it's going to be the Defiant Co. presents head to head. So everyone that dials in and does it, you have to come obviously prepared with who you're head to head with, and you sort all that out in the background. We can help with that if people are struggling, I guess. But everyone will get a specific patch that you can only get if you do head to head for your bag. And then are we running it as a? Did we look at a winner stops on scenario? Was that going to be part of the?
So it's the way that this worked about probably like 9-10 months ago now. Me and Jon, who's in the chat, we had a show on with the girls on the Glitton Things channel, and we had these two mates that, like Grant, who's keeping it real. Him and this other guy had this like fucking ongoing dispute about who was better at one something or another, and we were like, "Well, I'll tell you what, come live, we'll do it." It was the Open last year, and Grant failed miserably at the Open workout. He got stressed. He was kicking bottles around. It was all live on air, and it was all brilliant. And it was the raw nature of it, because obviously Kill Taylor's going on, and that's awesome. And like the boys interrupted stuff's amazing. But what the essence of what we want is fucking people with a genuine like need to go head to head with someone. So, and then Grant and this other guy, Sean, a little while later, they had this thing about they could beat each other in a 1 mile race. So they set up a camera each at that. I mean, one of them lives in like fucking Minnesota and one of them lives in like Texas or something. But they went to the track near them, set up a camera, and they did 4 laps of the track head to head on our command. And we like platformed it, and they went head to head. There's no prizes. There's no big finale. There's no nothing. It's just, it was an absolute shit show. And then we had like CJ and Claire Bays on from the fucking morning thingy. I can't remember the show name. It's embarrassing. Jon, what's their show called? WOD Prep. WOD Prep channel. They went live and they did a girl WOD. So they did Jackie, and because they hated each other. But then we got like Kate Lawrence from Inside the Box Office, and just random people just coming on who just wanted a workout against someone randomly, and that's how it kind of built from there.
I'll be on this every week, chaps.
Yeah,
I'll be on this every week.
That's
mate. Like, what would it be then? Go on then. Say you were gonna throw a workout in that nobody could beat you at. What would that be for you?
Oh. Probably like just like 50 strict handstand push-ups for time.
That'd be good.
I've done it in like a minute 12 or something.
Fuck's sake.
Fucking hell.
So
but there will be one of your mates or someone online
someone
that you
will be
have
able to just do 50 unbroken in like 52 seconds or something, but I ain't got any friends that can do that.
What about I wonder if G could do that, Georgia. I bet she'd be up there with that.
G who?
You think? Georgia Davenport.
Oh, no chance.
No?
No
See,
chance.
this is how it starts. So this is
I'm telling you, mate, she does not have a chance.
Oh, that's
you can beat me in a lot of workouts, but not that.
We're clipping it.
We'll clip that, put it online, tag her, and see if she wants to do it.
I think she has
that's
to do
actually a really quick, easy one to do as well.
Yeah.
I'm so good at them, I don't even do them.
I think she had to do at the British functional, the BF3 at the Worlds. I think she had to do them all because I think she was paired with Phil Roy, and
yeah,
I think she did most of it.
I wouldn't take him on like that.
But it's sort of like we labeled it when we were doing it as the most unprofessional setup. Like we just want to keep it, the essence of it really like raw, just uncut. Like if a camera goes off halfway through, it's funny, it's not the end of the world. Just sort of like having fun with it. But the essence, because we were doing it with Americans, right? And what we want to do, we want to use this because it's a really cool concept and it's just nice. What we want to do is bring it over to here, and we want British people to come on and engage and like just have fun with it. And it might be that fucking, I don't know, 2 scaled athletes that hate each other at their box want to come on and they want to do like 10 knee raises for time, or it's just, and we'll take the piss out of them for it. It's just a fun sort of session, like an open gym bit of banter, but it's just it's nice and it's just playful, but it can scale up as well to the likes of you that are going to do like 50 fucking strict handstand push-ups. That kind of thing be amazing, but we'll have a laugh of it.
Mate, that's it. You're going to be one of our first contestants now. I'm going to be back in touch with you for this, mate. It's going to be Sunday mornings at 10 a.m, innit? And that's when we're going to look to do it.
Yeah.
So
to be fair, for that workout, all I need is a tripod and a wall.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The fact that open gyms crashing around me doesn't really matter that much, does it?
No. Oh no, mate! It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be quiet or like amazing.
I actually really like the idea of this because I always just trying to wind people up to get them to I'm just trying to pit people against each other. Yeah, but that's part of the reason why I love sport. It's just competition, right? Everything's competitive. So I do like the idea of that. I wouldn't mind if someone called me out on something, actually. So this is another, call me.
I might call you out on a 20-minute FTP test, mate.
You'd fuck me up, so maybe not. What have you hit? Like 320 or something?
No, so I'm a shit house. So my official score is 296. And when I did 296 5 years ago, I swore I would never do that test again. So now I work my 100%. I work off about 325 because I've gone up and I do that.
I'm telling you, mate,
testing, but I'm too scared.
I hit 300 probably about 3 years ago, and I've never.
The worst, isn't it? It's the worst thing.
I did like a baseline, hit 290, felt easy. I was like laughing at myself while doing it. Do the retest, and I'm digging in to the deepest, darkest crevices of my soul. Like all the training, all the effort, like 10 watts. I was like, yeah, great. That would actually be a good show. Also because you're kind of old as shit, and I went to the CrossFit Games last year, so it'd be really embarrassing for me to lose.
Yes, he's got no loss. He doesn't lose. He can only win in that instance.
And he'd probably be drinking a White Claw while he's doing it as well.
I like that, mate. You're old as shit, and I went to the CrossFit Games. Clip that for when me and Harry go head to head. In fact, if we do that, mate, because I've not tested for that long, if we did something like that, I'd come down to Blueprint and set a tripod up and do it side by side with you, because it'd be so much more fun peering at each other's screens.
Oh yeah,
right,
amazing, wouldn't it?
Right, mate. My Mac is on 8% and my charge is at the office. So, did you want to cover anything else on this for the continuum chat?
No, we can continue them another time.
Well, let me tell you. Actually, I got filled in today on a workout more than I thought. I don't know if I didn't look at it right, but listen, what do you reckon to this workout? 50 cal echo, and then
What's
6
the
rounds,
right,
15-minute workout. So 50 cal echo, then 6 rounds of 12 over bar burpees, 12 push press at 60, then 25 cal echo finish. And bearing it's 15-minute time cap. I scaled it to 35 kg because I like to use a female bar because it's nicer on my hands, and I wanted to put 10s on. The scaling options were 42.5 or 30, and I went 35.
You actually did that. You're not just saying that.
No, that's true, mate. I don't care. I've got no shame. I'm old as shit. And I finished just 22 seconds inside the time cap. It was absolutely brutal. Elliot, who's like the head coach at Project, and probably the fittest person I train with. He finished it in the time. He finished a couple of seconds before me, but obviously did it at 60. But no one else in the gyms finished it like at prescribed weight. It was absolutely miserable. Yeah, what do you reckon to that one?
So what? 12 push press, 12 bar over burpees.
Burpees were first, and then the 12 push press. So he got off. Is it
lateral or facing?
It's lateral. So we got off the echo, similar time for the 50 cals, about 240, and then minute and a half round. Yeah. It was just the combination of both was just, it was horrible.
You could get that done in under 10 minutes though.
Fucking hell. That minute and a half rounds on the push press and burpees is like 9 minutes, isn't it? So that's going some when you consider 75 cal echo as well.
Someone could do that.
I think I'd probably do that at 50 kilo. I reckon I could get it done at 50.
You've seen Nath on the podcast before, haven't you? He did it at 50. I think he just snuck in inside the time cap, actually.
Yeah, for me, like the difference between 50 and 60 now that I'm I've been doing it a while, 60 would have been manageable probably 2018.
Wait, sorry. Is the RX 60?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take it back.
Oh, were you thinking about doing it at my weight?
I thought the RX was 42. 43.
Oh no, that was the first scale, was 42.5.
Yeah.
50, yeah. 50 would be a nice number to hit that. 60, that's
a lot of load, isn't it?
Well, L was going to do it at 50 because he said he didn't think it was possible. But then he said, well, I've programmed it now, so I need to prove it can be done. and then made it happen. But yeah, it was a grim one. But yeah,
cool. Nice.
It's been my day. Right. Well, cheers for jumping on. How's it? And Jake, as always, a pleasure. And I'll end it now.
Thanks, sir. Bye.